There is apparently backstage heat on Shane McMahon following the Royal Rumble. We also have an update on the circumstances surrounding Jeff Hardy's release, and a WWE Hall of Famer has announced their in-ring return. More on that later on. Andrew, to the Observer we go, where they are reporting on news that's kind of been emerging over the past couple of days now, actually.
Yeah.
Various different sources reporting that Shane McMahon might have heat on him backstage after the Rumble. And the Observer have chimed in and kind of clarified some of that, saying that Shane McMahon was a producer of the Men's Royal Rumble. He is not a regular producer for WWE, but Vince gave him the assignment for the match, presumably because he'd helped produce the Royal Rumble in 2020 and 2021.
Yes.
But he wasn't like in charge. It's not a regular role of his. But apparently this year, he was way more hands-on and taking control than he had been prior. Both matches were being constantly changed. And apparently, even though those on the inside knew who the winners were going to be all along, different things were being told to different people. And things were always changing regarding not the winners, but like little spots that would happen in the match. The details that make up the minutiae of the Royal Rumble.
I like it.
Yeah, thank you. Now, apparently, that means that the stories about Shane McMahon having heat or negativity towards him backstage because of this are pretty accurate. Apparently also, he's booked for both the Elimination Chamber and WrestleMania.
Oh, me and Ross were speculating yesterday. It's going to be Austin Theory versus Shane McMahon for the affection of Vincent Kennedy McMahon at WrestleMania.
Yeah, you're right.
No,
you're right.
I can see why there would be some sort of heat.
Oh, that is the match. Sorry, go on. Sorry.
I can see why people would be upset about what happened at the Royal Rumble 2022. It was a very meandering match where I think a lot of people seemed unsure of what they were supposed to do. People who we thought were top contenders to go through right to the end were getting eliminated without any sort of.
AJ Styles big one for me.
There was no sort of storyline purposes or any real rhyme or reason as to why these people came out.
AJ got eliminated by Madcap Moss.
Yeah, there was
He's not involved with him at all.
There was no sort of substance behind a lot of the eliminations either. And you could tell that the wrestlers in the match were kind of just thrown off about what to do. And yeah, apparently this could very well be the reason why.
Well, I think that is a very probable reason, but also I've got my own little theory about why Shane might have heat on him, because he was in the match itself, obviously. He was a surprise entrant, and he punched people in the face, as he always does.
Right in their nipples.
Shane McMahon,
he was going for the nipples.
For the nipples as well. I just remember, I think it was AJ at one point. Shane hits people for real.
He does. He really does.
He doesn't mean to. He just gets too excited in there. And when I was watching it, with Owen and Fraser, and Owen was sat editing, but as well, when Shane came out, he obviously turned around and he's like, well, I've got to watch what Shane McMahon does. And Shane runs in the ring, hits one move, and then Owen goes, how's he so sweaty already?
He just is. He's chronically sweaty.
He's really sweaty. But, I mean, on one hand, I feel bad for Shane because he was thrown into that position.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I don't know what to think, because I've been now conditioned due to his on-screen antics to not enjoy it when Shane McMahon's on, and eliminating the likes of Kevin Owens.
Yeah, that was no.
In related news, PW Insider have claimed that morale was down backstage, in the locker room after the Royal Rumble, not just because of the kind of meandering tone of the match, as you mentioned, but also potentially because of the absences of Triple H and TJ Wilson, aka Tyson Kidd, as a reason why the mood was down and why the Rumble arguably fell flat this year.
Yeah.
Apparently Triple H's job at the Rumble is typically to make sure that people get individual moments to shine within the overall story, which is what makes for a great Rumble. I think if you put those moments together, then it makes for a great Rumble. And then TJ Wilson is often on hand putting on the Women's Rumble. He takes the lead on the Women's Rumble. Neither were there, which led to Shane McMahon having more sway than usual.
Yeah.
And I think that would make sense. Triple H has proven during his time heading up NXT that he gives people moments when they deserve them. So that makes total sense to me. And I think I've definitely heard a lot of people speak very highly of how good TJ Wilson is in charge of the women's division as well when he's putting on matches there. So producing matches for the women's division. So I mean, what can we say?
What can we say? I mean, it was definitely evident within at least the men's match that it was very much lacking in spots. Unfortunately, Kofi's spot went awry a little bit, and he wasn't able to have his Royal Rumble highlight reel moment as he usually does.
Yeah.
I think there was a lot more spots in the women's match. I think the women's match outshined the men's match. You know, even though there were a few hiccups here and there, I think it did ultimately better than
I was definitely
the men's
more
match.
interested watching the women's one than I was the men's one. Yeah, and there were more. I just felt like there were more surprises and more. Even though I wasn't a big fan of either match in particular, that one felt more like a rumble, an engaging rumble, I suppose.
Exactly, and I guess that just goes to show how hands-on these two people are, Triple H and TJ Wilson as well, and they're such a huge part of what I guess essentially makes a Royal Rumble great. Yeah,
absolutely. Moving on now to news of Jeff Hardy. Matt Hardy gave an update on Jeff during his Mattitude Monday Twitch stream, and it's quite a long quote we've got here actually. So I don't know, do we read all of it?
Let's just do it, and the people need the news. You know what I'm saying?
Go on then. Let's alternate paragraph.
Okay, that sounds good.
I feel bad if
do you want to start or me start?
You start.
I'll start. Okay. So during his Mattitude Monday Twitch stream, Matt said, "Whenever my brother ended up being released, he had taken a drug test, and usually these drug tests come back 10 to 14 days. Those 10 to 14 days had been up for him, and he never got a result. He's been clean the whole time while he's been there. Sorry, I know there was an issue." They said Jeff Hardy has this erratic behaviour. He jumped over the guardrail or whatever. The erratic behaviour is why they gave him the drug test and they sent him home.
Right, so there, I mean, first of all, Matt's referring to the house show where Jeff Hardy kind of rolled out the ring before the match had even ended.
Yeah.
He was laying on the apron for a bit.
He was. He seemed to get gassed throughout.
And then he got in the crowd and just sort of walked off before the end of the match. And I think, you know, it was erratic, it was strange. It was, So I don't blame WWE for that. But if what Matt's suggesting here is true and they just never returned his drug test, that's a bit weird.
It's a bit weird.
Yeah, why would they, like, it's as if they were like, we're going to catch you out. That's the feeling that Matt's trying to convey here, I think.
Of course.
And it's like, we're going to catch Jeff out, and then he seems to be implying they were like, oh, it's negative.
Yeah.
Well, now we feel silly. Matt went on to say, working with WWE is a very stressful job, and I'm not going to say that I'm here to bury WWE because I love WWE, but it's a very stressful environment as well. Anybody who's worked there knows that. So I feel like Jeff was kind of stressed out in many different ways by several different things, and he just told me when he went over that guardrail, he knew he was done. He was done there. He was literally done with the match, so he felt done. I mean, could be mental burnout by the time.
It could be, you know, we've heard of wrestlers just doing that, sort of like after a match or something, just being like, look, I'm out, I'm not coming back, I'm off, that's it. He goes on to say, I don't think he did it intentionally trying to get fired. He's a very emotionally supercharged person and follows his emotions and instincts. And if something feels a certain way, regardless if it's the best case scenario for the outline of the match or scenario he's working in, he just does it. So that's just what happened to happen on this occasion.
Yes, what happened to happen,
happened to happen on this occasion, and he went for it. He ended up being released a few days later, and they never got the results for his drug test. He had obviously passed all his drug tests. They said something like either go to rehab or be released. They kind of gave him an ultimatum, and he just said, okay, well, go and release me then, because I don't need to go to rehab. That was his mentality at the time.
Yeah. Well, according to Matt Hardy, Jeff didn't receive his drug test back until 3 weeks in the end after it was complete and needed help from a lawyer to do so. Matt also confirmed reports that WWE Head of Talent Relations John Laurinaitis had reached out to Jeff for a potential Hall of Fame induction, and that Jeff's drug test came back negative, which made him clean. Yeah. So we'll just have to wait and see what comes of that, I suppose.
I think we will.
I don't know what Jeff Hardy's up to at the moment. I've not heard news of him.
He's been doing little tours, right? He's been doing tours. He's been singing in clubs and everything with bands. And then I think he and Matt have that little tag team tour, Hardy Boys Union tour, around that may eventually, who knows, end up in AEW. We will see.
We will see. And finally, a WWE Hall of Famer has announced their in-ring return, and it makes some noise. It's X-Pac.
No, it's not. No, it is.
Who is going to appear at GCW Welcome to Heartbreak on Friday, the 25th February in LA, California. He'll be teaming with the bad boy, Joey Janela, against Matt Cardona and Brian Myers at that GCW show. The match was set up at the World on GCW when Brian Myers helped Cardona beat Joey Janela in a singles match. X-Pac ran in to make the save, and then the heels ran away.
It was a stacked match for run-ins. It was a stacked match for run-ins. So we had swoggle in there. Virgil came down wearing a Vince McMahon mask, took it off, and then kind of just walked to the back again, which was very strange. Marco Stunt was there with new blonde hair, beautiful, and as mentioned, Brian Myers as well. I'm very excited to see what happens here, because just Matt Cardona's on the streak of a lifetime. He is fantastic at the moment. And X-Pac, he looked healthy. We watched the Indie Hall of Fame as well. He looked fantastic, looked really good. And if he's ready to go again, like, I'm excited to see what happens.
The last thing I remember, I'm sure he's done more since then, but the last thing I remember X-Pac doing was 10 years ago now, but he appeared in one of the Chikara King of Trios tournaments, or was it just I think it was King of Trios, but he appeared at a Chikara tournament and lasted like a few matches in. He might have even got to the final or something, and everyone apparently was just saying like he looked so good, and I thought wow, but then I realised that was about 10 years ago. But he looks great still.
He does look great still. I feel like he's had some indie matches a little bit more recently as well, and he still looks really good too. Like he can
he did. Hang on. I remembered a really funny, so I was watching, this was a few years ago, and it was when like all the WrestleMania weekend shows are on like Fight and places like that online, and I was watching this random one. It was like one of the WrestleCon shows or something, and it was the year when Pac couldn't get over to, because of visa issues or something, he couldn't get from Dragon Gate to the States for that match or whatever, and then they were like, we've got a surprise entrant in this match, everybody, here we go, and then Pac came on the screen and everyone went, oh, and then it went X-Pac, and everyone went, oh, but I would have been like,
yeah, come on now, what a surprise.
So he definitely has done more, he has done more. I hope it goes well. I think it will.
I think it will. He's definitely. I mean, X-Pac's in the ring with people who are also himself very experienced, but also other experienced wrestlers too. I think they're going to keep him safe if need be. But I'm intrigued to see what heelish stuff Matt Cardona is going to do. Whether he comes out to like the DX theme song. Because at GCW we saw him come out to the Sandman's theme. And everyone was like, no way, this is actually going to happen. And then he just came out and then spat beer in a man's face.
Yes.
And that was fantastic.
So there we go. X-Pac, good luck to him. That is once again on February 25th at GCW. Welcome to Heartbreak in LA. Los Angeles.
Boom.
Yes.
He's got it down.
LA. Thanks for watching this video. And check out our earlier news videos if you didn't catch it. Thank you, Andrew, for joining me.
Thank you, Jack, for having me.
Journey through the news.
Yeah.
Leave all your thoughts in the comment section down below, and have a great and wonderful day. And we'll see you soon.